We have the prayer and the pledge by Councilmember Dustin Swear.
Say the Lord's Prayer. In the name of the Father. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Dan Doyle.
Here.
Councilmember Natalie Lopez.
Present.
Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard.
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Here.
Councilmember Sherry Guidry.
Present.
Councilmember Dustin Swear.
here.
Agenda item 1, public comment. Please have your cell phones on silent. And remember that you have 3 minutes and there's no back and forth. It's just for us to hear from you. And I think we have a couple of comment cards tonight.
Mr. Joe LeBlanc on agenda item number 11A.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for this time to talk. And I also want to thank y'all for making that meeting Monday morning and showing all the concern for the Wildlife and Fishery Office, which is located in Iberia Parish, that they're trying to move to Lafayette. And we have the biggest body of water and the biggest woodland, so that, we're gonna have to write letters to the governor, call on the phone, but we have to keep it in Iberia Parish where it belongs, you see? And I appreciate, again, everything that y'all do for us. And I want to say that if you're people that's going to see this on TV, if you want to write a letter to the governor, it's Governor John Bell Edwards, P.O. Box 94004, Baton Rouge 70804. And if y'all decide y'all want to give him a call, the number is 225-342-7015. We need to keep this business in Iberia Parish because we have the biggest body of water. We have a lot to lose. Lafayette don't have the surrounding waters that we have. We get the bay and all these lakes and stuff, and y'all got fishing rodeos and everything. And I'm gonna call everybody I know, and I appreciate it if y'all do the same. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Warren Goshasan on agenda item number 11A.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. It is my pleasure to address the council on the agenda item about closing the wildlife and fisheries. Over the last few weeks, I've learned so much about the department and its economical impact on our municipalities. It's estimated around $1 million spent around our parish annually. This would deliver a big blow to our economy that is already still having complications recovering from the slowdown in the oil field. It is the state's plan to close the St. Landry Parish facility and Iberia Parish and consolidate it with the rental property that is in Lafayette Parish and put it just north of Scott. Now, if they close it, the consolidation is what the secretary is using. They're trying to consolidate services. Most of us think of consolidation as a reduction in services and putting departments together to save money. They're trying to spend $6.8 million on a new facility, on a building that'll be in a metro area, trying to, could you imagine trying to get a boat, a 30-foot boat, hooked up and get through in the heart of Lafayette and then to Iberia Parish or wherever the emergency would be? It's just not economically feasible, and it's not, like one of my colleagues used, it's not using common sense for what the department's trying to do. So in the case, it doesn't save money for the state at all. The department is, like I said, is trying to purchase a 2-story building with approximately 70,000 square feet in a very upscale area and also in a heavy populated area. I want to talk about the meeting Mr. Joe LeBlanc talked about Monday. The mayor was there, several council members. I've never seen the community get together like they came together. I was proud to be a part of it. I was proud to be a part of Iberia Parish. I mean, I think it was heartfelt. I think Senator Mills, he felt that, you know, we were there for the sole purpose is to make sure that the resources we're paying for stays in the parish. And so I commend him and the secretary and the whole gang for coming down. And of course, I commend you guys. I mean, you have a big job sitting in those seats. I don't think people realize what the intel is of being in public service. But I can tell you, I know that each and every one of you is willing to fight with us, and I'm very appreciative of that. I know our administration, Mr. Reshort, and the mayor has been in conversations over this. So it's going to take all of us to make this happen. The current location that we do have here in Iberia Parish is centrally located between the Chafalire River and the Intercoastal City Thruway. So, I mean, how much more strategic can you get than what we already are? So I know there's talks in the community about getting some land together to help them, some offers from IDF with Mike Tarantino, and I commend his effort. We were able to show the secretary some parcels of land before he left for Baton Rouge on Monday. So if there's anything you guys can do, it's very appreciative, and I'm just glad to be able to see parish and city work together for a common good. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your efforts. Madam Clerk, item 2.
Acceptance of the minutes of the March 6, 2018 meeting as published on March 15th, 2018.
All right, looking for a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lewis, second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Item 3.
Persons to address the council. Acceptance and appreciation to the Walmart Foundation for grant awards of $2,000 from Walmart Facility Number 533 on East Amador Drive and Walmart Facility Number 5773 on Parkview Drive for $2,000 to the New Iberia Police Department.
Do we have anybody here from Walmart? Well, we're going to take this time and thank Walmart for their $4,000 donation. This is going to the police department. As you know, forming a new police department is expensive. This money will certainly come in handy. So we certainly like to thank Walmart for their contribution. Madam Clerk?
Pastor Zachary Mitchell to address the council on the events which occurred in District 3 and the upcoming events for District 4.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Hope everybody's doing well. It's a great day, and I'm glad to be alive in it. I want to tonight, as you've so graciously extended another invitation for me being here, and kind of feel like a part, but it's all good. But before I issue out and have some paperwork for you, I want to call your attention to the monitor, if you don't mind, and have a couple of items that I would like for you to see.
My name is Joseph Franklin, and I am 12 years old. Hey, I'm Pleasant, and I'm 20.
My name's Caleb. I'm 19 years old.
I want the crime to stop in my area.
Stop killing us.
Killing us.
Stop trying to get us addicted to drugs and alcohol.
Stop sexually abusing us.
Stop abusing us sexually.
Stop neglecting us.
Stop murdering
Stop
us.
the gang
I am a
murder.
child of God.
I know who
I know
I
who I
am.
am.
Don't molest me and
I
turn me
am a
into a
Don't
girl.
molest me. I am a woman of God. Pray for me that I'm successful.
Pray for me that I am successful.
We know who we are. We are children of God. Pray for us that we are successful.
Thank you for your observation of that. And this is a public service announcement that we are putting out because now our young people are getting involved, and they've been involved from the point and the place of a lot of things happening with them and through them. And so we now begin to turn our attention toward these things that are assaulting our young people. You hear it say many times that they are our future. They're not our future. They are our now. and we need to deal with them now. And so we hope that that stirs a lot of people to understand that this is one, a citywide effort. Two, we have taken on the situation of doing our part spiritually. We can't do what law enforcement do. We can't do what government do. We can do what we can do spiritually. And each government needs the support. Our city police needs the support. But the spiritual side needs support also. That's why we're crying out, calling out to all our churches and all of you. And I really am so appreciative, and I'm honored that the council has not only invited us here every time, but also is involved. And I want to quickly run through and call your attention to the monitor again. And these are just some pics. I'm going to go through. I have a few of them, and not many. And this is legitimately the acts on the street, and this is literally in people's homes praying for them. Our city really is crying out for a human touch. Here is a picture where when we were in District 1, where we prayed at the school board. This is the front, and this is a holistic picture of that, praying at the school board. What we do when we're in each district is whatever governmental buildings are in that district or institutions, we go to that place. And so that was in District 2. This is one of the prayer walks that we had rain and people were out praying out with umbrellas in the rain. And this is at the church in District 2. As for the all-night prayer and a lot of the people that were involved in that, that's Father Bill Malonson of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, which is located in District 3. And they've come aboard. Now you'll see some pictures, you're going to see some pics as I go through them. This is still at the church of what we did in the all-night prayer for District 2. Now, the reason why you don't see District 3 is because that comes up this Friday night. So this Friday night at 10 p.m. we'll be at Lighthouse Missionary Baptist Church doing the same things. And I want to get to a pic of where we were praying for the streets. And these are just many people that were involved. We have praise and worship and prayer. This is a banner. We have two of these banners, one that goes before the prayer walk and one at the end. Notice what it says, New Iberia Citywide, a prayer walk hosted by the Iberia Christian Ministerial Federation of Pastors. Once again, it's not a church thing, it's a citywide thing. And so more people again, as you see it. See on the wall behind this gentleman, there are papers on the wall. These are the names of the streets. And I think we have some pics in here. I probably went through them. I don't know if you recognize this gentleman in this purple and gold shirt. Good looking guy. But and we thank him for being on ground with us for this. And we thank God for Mr. Broussard being participating in the whole issue. Let me pass this out real quick. I'll be about done.
I think some of this prayer stuff is helping my whole system of coughing. I want to thank the public police for putting up with me for 2 and 3 months. I changed my medicine and it worked to help me out.
Well, we remember before this started, you wasn't coughing. When we started, you was. Then we prayed for you, and guess what? Yes, yes. Quickly, before I take my seat, wanted to call your attention to the folder that I gave you, the Taking Our City Initiative. This is the title of what we're doing. It's an initiative. It's a going forward. It's a taking our city district by district by district. And since we have 6 districts, we'll be doing it up until June. But in July, we have 2 big events. The Lit to Overcome 2 is what we're calling it on July the 7th. It's going to be one day this year, and it's going to be a big blast where it's a children and youth crusade. And then 2 weeks later, we will have a week-long camp, if I'm not mistaken. The dates are beginning on the 23rd of July. So those are the 2 big events we have coming up. In your folder, you have all the successes of what we do on the prayer walks, of what has happened there, and then the boots on the ground, because that's the initiative. The initiative is the prayer walk. And let me say, what does that do? Some people have said, okay, you guys are just walking and praying. What does that do? That prepares the area to receive. And we deal with this from a spiritual point of view. So that's the prayer walks. Then you have some flyers that you, please, we want you to give out to some constituents. Just pay attention to the first item, which is the citywide prayer walk, has already happened. And then you have the all-night prayer, which comes up this Friday night beginning at 10 p.m. And then the boots on the ground this Saturday beginning at 10 a.m. And lastly, on the last sheet you have in your folder are the prayer points to declare. We put scripture on there so you can read them, pray for them. This is strictly for District 3. And then you see at the bottom of that sheet, we list the hot spots of District 3. I cannot, in closing my time, I want to thank you, and I cannot emphasize enough that this is citywide, and we support every event that is promoting the city, once again, such as the Tide is Right. We thank Councilwoman Sherry Guidry for that. It did touch some hearts, and it brought really some awareness that we still can be community. But we want to bring the awareness that we can be a wholesome community, a healthy community, a saved community, a community that sticks together. God bless you and keep you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you do. At this time, I'm going to ask the council, the police chief is going to have to leave to attend another meeting, but I'd like him here while we go over the budget, so I'm going to ask if someone would make a motion to go to item 10A. That way he could be here.
Motion to go to item 10A, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Councilwoman Gibby, do I have a second? Second by Councilman Lewis. Please vote your machines. Thank y'all. So if Kevin can come up, and the chief as well. I'm sure there'll be a few questions. And what we prepared is the initial year budget, which is this year, that is a partial year. So what we included in your packet is a partial year budget. We went ahead and included the full budget for next year, and we included a breakdown of the bond spending so far, and what the total is going to be, basically, of all the bond spending. So the bond spending is ongoing now. We are in the initial budget, but while we were doing this, we wanted to project next year's budget. That way we can have a handle on keeping it in budget very early. So that was all in your packets. Not sure if we want to review the whole thing, or it's a lot of paperwork, or if anybody has looked at it and has any questions.
I got one.
Yes, sir.
The next year, the full year budget is gonna be like our regular, year from October to,
Yes, yes.
I mean, not, since we started this-
November through October.
November 1st.
Yes, this initial budget is from now till the end of this year, and then, that's right, it runs like all of our budgets. That's November 1.
Question?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't see, that amount, for like the dog catcher. Should that be in here?
No, ma'am.
Or is it gonna be in administration?
That would be in it from the general fund, and that's the dog catcher. We took it out of the police budget.
Okay.
And so the dog catcher, and matter of fact, while we're kind of on that subject, because this is good, we got the signed dog catcher agreement back today. So as of April 1st, it'll start, and on April 1st, you'll be able to call the parish dog catcher. In the meantime, that's only a few weeks away. We'll help coordinate it, but as of April 1st, the parish will come into the city and be our dog catcher. So that was some good news.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
I guess we talked about, when I talked about putting money aside for the salaries and benefits for the future, are we gonna address that after we have the first year budget? You remember we talked about having money put aside for that?
Correct, in the endowment.
Right.
Right. All of those projections are in our original, we'll call it the sales packet, if you will, okay? That will be included with the full year budget. In other words, the partial year budget, there's not as much money coming in because I'm still paying the sheriff's department $4.1 million out of this budget. So when we see the extra money to be able to do those things is once his contract goes away. His contract goes away July 1, and then now we have a bigger pool of money, if you will, between the 1960 tax and the new tax that the citizens passed. So with that in the full year will give us the money that we can begin to put aside for those things.
But it's not in this full year projection right here.
No, this
Maybe
is,
what was that?
if you look, as per this agreement, because that's the only one I have, the police budget was gonna be 7.4. The full year budget is 7.3. So we're trying to, from the beginning, keep our costs down low. But once we collect that money, as we go along next year, there will be some money left when you combine the two taxes. From that money, that is what's gonna be set aside to go for the endowment.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And I thought it was neat to bring both budgets and to say, here's the partial year, here's the full year, because we're already planning on, trying to work within our numbers and make this work.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Yes?
I have a question. We have on the second page, it has jail contact. Is that supposed to be contract?
It's supposed to be
Yes.
contract.
Okay, I
Type
figured
of
that. That's an estimation, or is that
No,
a
no.
rate?
That's an estimation.
And is our daily rate, what's our daily rate right now?
We're negotiating that right now.
Okay, so that hasn't been,
We have not settled on a day rate. We are
but what
talking
are we paying right now today?
$30, I think, a day. Chief, do you remember that?
It's,
Yeah. Yeah, right now we're paying 30.
a couple years ago, it was like 24.
Yes,
Now it's 30.
yes,
And we're negotiating.
yes.
Okay.
We're
Are
all-
we even in a generalized area right now?
I think so. Yes, I really do.
Is it close to where we currently are?
Yes. And I'd rather not, we're in the middle of negotiations. I'd
No.
rather not say, hey, I got all this money,
No,
you better
no,
charge
no.
me extra.
No,
So,
we're
but we
good,
are,
I mean-
we are negotiating that. And I have to say that in all fairness, we had a meeting today, and we're having meetings every 2 weeks, and they have been very cooperative, and the transition is going well, Natalie. So I really feel that we will be right around there.
Okay.
We're doing our best.
And is that gonna be, in your negotiations, is that gonna be year by year, or are we gonna try to lock in a rate for like,
I would
5
love
years?
to lock in a rate for a while so that I could budget that. Anytime you can have your costs that for at least a few years is going to stay stable, we are trying to do that.
thank you.
Sure, thank you. Yes, sir.
If you remember, this is something we voted on that last contract, correct, at the 30. What is the state, is there a state mandated maximum that the sheriff allows to charge?
No, sir, there isn't.
No, it's in
There's
jail.
none?
No.
Okay.
DOC pays like 24 or something.
Yeah. And the parish, I think, pays $3 a day, but they own the jail.
Right.
So we can't go by that.
But like the
They own
DOC,
it.
the DOC government rate, like if somebody's in the IPJ and they're doing DOC time, meaning like they've been sentenced, they're doing over 5 years hard labor, and there's no room for them in a DOC facility, Iberia will keep them, but DOC has to reimburse them
Correct. And
$24 a day.
And
It's going
that,
down now?
yes, that rate is going down.
It's going down.
Yes.
But the sheriff at one point went up on hours to $30 a day. And so
Correct.
that's why I'm questioning
Correct. He was balancing
what's
it
going
out.
on, because that number, and it's his jail, so he can go up or down or
Correct.
all around.
I know.
And that number, depending on if we get a high volume of arrests, that number could really affect our budget.
Yes, ma'am. Dustin, you still have the floor. You have anything else?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
You good? Okay. Councilwoman Gibb?
The maintenance, equipment repair and maintenance and automobile repair, are the inmates are gonna still do that, or, are we using a different service?
We will end up with our own mechanic and have one
Okay.
budgeted. Because all of our leased vehicles, or now our purchased vehicles, are brand new, we're gonna put that off for a little while. We are hoping that, and if you see those maintenance numbers are not that high because everything's brand new.
Right.
We're going to, in the bond money, purchase the mechanic tools before we're done with the bond money, and we're gonna set those aside. We have talked to a couple of mechanics, but we are gonna wait a little while, because really at first we were anticipating, I mean, everything's brand new, just all changes and tire changes and those kind of things to start.
So the numbers are gonna go up, as we
Eventually, the
progress in
numbers will
years
go
for
up.
this budget.
I can't say that the sheriff won't cooperate, because they agreed today to paint 5 cars for us. We are also in a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Lafayette Police Department. We're getting 5 cars. Those 5 cars are black and white. Our department colors are white. I want to distinguish us from every other department, so those black and whites will get painted white. And they have agreed if we buy the paint, the inmates will paint them for us. So I can't say there isn't any cooperation, but as far as for the maintenance, we'll be doing that ourselves. On the new cars, we'll go back to the, where we got them, to the
So
dealers.
the cooperative endeavor agreement, between Lafayette and ourselves, are they gonna do the, maintain those cars as maintenance, or is gonna be our
Oh,
responsibility,
no,
right?
they're just giving them to us.
Right.
They're just saying, here's 5 old
And we're
cool
gonna
cars.
do the maintenance.
And we're gonna gladly take them.
Right, okay. Thank you.
And they're fully equipped, so that's the real plus, is that, they're older cars, but you know how much it costs to equip a car, they're fully
That's right.
equipped. Any further items? No? Great, well, thank y'all, and in the future, we'll do, Todd, I know you got a cutout, thank you, Chief. As this develops, we thought, give you the partial budget, give you the full budget, give you the bond spending, and then it'll become like every other department that we'll start getting updates, monthly of our budget, as we do with the other departments. Great, thank y'all very much. Now we go back to our regular order of things, item 4.
Public hearing on introduction of ordinance fixing the terms of the purchase of a used police motorcycle from the city of Lake Charles.
Do you have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion?
Motion by
Second.
Councilwoman Guidry, second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Do we have any public comment in the room? Hearing none, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lewis,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Lopez.
Public hearing on introduction of ordinance to enter into a right-of-way and servitude agreement with CenterPoint Energy Resources Corporation.
Need a motion to open?
Motion to open?
Motion by Councilwoman Guidry, and I need a second.
Second.
Second, I don't,
Councilman.
Councilman Swear. Any public comment on item 4B? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Motion by Councilwoman Guidry, I need a second.
It's your turn.
Second.
Councilwoman Lopez. Hey, great, thank y'all. Madam Clerk, item 5.
Ordinance fixing the terms of the purchase of a used police motorcycle from the city of Lake Charles for a 2009 Harley-Davidson FLHPA Road King for the sum of $9,190, and authorizing the mayor to enter into a joint services agreement with the city of Lake Charles, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documents in connection with said purchase in accordance with resolution number 1806.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Dahl, and a second by Councilwoman Guidry. Do we have any discussion on this item? Yes, we do. Councilman Swear.
Being that this is, this motorcycle is 2009, so we're looking at an 8-year-old bike. Can you
Yes.
clarify with us in the public what a bike like this today, in 2018, would cost us?
Oh, it's a new
Is that
bike?
something?
Oh, it'd be like
Brand new bike.
$25,000, all rigged up. I mean, this one has all we have to do on this bike is peel off the 2 Lake Charles decals and stick our 2 decals. It's got the lights, it's got the side, it's got everything on it. But you'll see that all the bikes, if you saw in the budget numbers of the bond, we have another motorcycle for $5,000, which that was an easy one. We could just buy that one. That one we purchased today. it was older and had, more miles, but both of those bikes that we're buying are completely rigged up. That's what makes it a good deal.
I just want to say this is a very conservative way of conserving our funds and doing the right thing, and I think this is the right way to go instead of going out and purchasing brand new from the startup.
Right.
But I just wanted to make that comment and make it clear with the public that that was the price of a brand new and compared to what we're paying.
Oh, definitely. Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I'm a Harley rider with my husband, and we have 3 motorcycles, and you're talking about a Road King, and it will run you between $20,000 and $30-something thousand plus tax, title, and license. And you said it's fully loaded, so I'm excited about $9,100, and I'm trying to figure out where you got $9,190 bike or Road King Harley Davidson 2009.
Wow.
It's a very good price.
Well, police departments cooperate, and I found that, this is my first encounter at this, but I'm amazed at how much they cooperate, how much they go back and forth, how much they pay attention that we're the only community to ever build a police department of this size from the ground up, and they really are stepping forward, which is awesome.
Now, on this particular bike, there's no warranty, no nothing. Once we buy it, it's ours, our responsibility as is.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any further discussion? I'll ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you. This is kind of a joke. Kevin, I'll need a purchase order. Okay, I'm done with that. Item 5B.
Ordinance enter into a right-of-way in servitude for distribution systems with CenterPoint Energy Services Corporation, DBA CenterPoint Energy Louisiana Gas, and authorizing the mayor to execute this right-of-way agreement and any additional documents that he deems appropriate to accomplish the foregoing.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Lewis. Do we have any discussion?
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
There's no cost to the city or to the subdivision for what you're doing here.
No. That's going through the park that was put together. Mr. Warren's in the back, and David Broussard as volunteers. They really spruced it up. Centerpoint promises, I want to say it again, they promise it will be left in the shape they got it. If it's not, I promise my Public Works will go and clean up whatever mess they leave if I can't get them to do it. But I feel comfortable that Centerpoint, will honor its word. And this is so that we can help the parish with the bridge replacement project, because the gas line was attached to the bridge, and we've got to get this done. It's unfortunate government has to move in the pace it moves. It takes 2 meetings to do an ordinance, so they've been waiting a month. I really, am excited that this is done so we can get Centerpoint in there and help the bridge project, proceed.
Thank you.
Sure. Any further? Please vote your machines. Great, thank y'all. Item 6.
Introduction of ordinance to be set for public hearing on April 3rd, 2018. An introduction of an ordinance to enter into a supplemental intergovernmental agreement with Sewage District Number 1 for repairs to the Teebayou wastewater treatment plant detention pond, and authorizing the mayor to execute this agreement and any additional documents that he deems necessary to accomplish the foregoing.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Councilwoman Guidry. Is there any discussion on this item?
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
That was the item that we had to, how much was the project? Was it 50/50?
50/50, and it's 2.5 million is our half. So it's a $5 million project.
And
we have Vince here tonight, if you, would
exactly to do what?
Vince, you want to come up and,
Is that a complete new pond?
No, sir. That's a repair.
So repair of half of it. A proper repair of half of it.
So the pond is not being enlarged, it's being the same?
No.
It's just being repaired?
That's correct. The levee.
And so we already got the engineer to design the project?
The preliminary design, correct.
And is the engineer local?
Lafayette.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Was the original engineer local?
Yes. Yes.
But now it needs to be fixed.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a good point. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machine. Thank y'all. Madam Clerk, item 7.
Resolutions. Resolution approving a contract with Paul J. Allen, architect, for professional services for the police department renovations at New Iberia City Hall, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documents in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Ledbetter, second by Councilman Swear. Is there any discussion on this item? No discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for picking someone local who gives back to the community every chance he gets.
Yes, ma'am. We try.
Can you kind of explain what is actually being done?
Yeah, sure. We're making a separate entry for the police department. We have tons of people that work in this building, and we're trying not to congest the interior hall with the elevators. So what's going to happen, there is an old metal door as you're starting to walk under the tunnel that used to be the back entrance to the jails. That is going to become the entry, the lobby, if you will, for the police department. There'll be some signage. There'll be a handicap ramp. There'll be some bollards. It will create some public parking, which is one of my pet peeves, right at that door. This is a public building. So we'll have 2 or 3 parking places right by the door on each side of City Hall. You will no longer be able to drive under the tunnel because we don't need to, and it's really not safe. You'll be able to walk up. There'll be some signage. When you make the corner and come up the one way, you're going to know where the police department is. If you're panicked or you need to get to the police department, there'll be a huge sign that says police on the side of the building and a lighted entry with a canopy. So you know where to go for the lobby of the police department. What that's going to do is keep some congestion and some of the things that go along with the police department out of our main hall. So it creates that, and it does a little bit of interior work, for the police. Any further discussion? Please vote your machine. Thank you. Item 7B.
Resolution accepted administrative change order number 4 for the Church Alley Park and Bike Trail to adjust for allowances.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Guidry. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Lopez. Do we have any discussion?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
it looks like they are taking some things out of the project.
We're not taking them out of the project, we're relieving the contractor. Basically, there are a couple of allowances, and because we partner with other people, Iberia Tourism is helping with one. We have a bike kiosk that's being designed now, so we're holding up the contract. So for those couple of allowances, we're just gonna back them out. It's not gonna cost us any more or any less. We'll just back out the 2 allowances, release the contractor because he's done his work. It's not his fault that those couple of items aren't designed. And then we have the money, so then we'll spend the money and get reimbursed by the state through the grant when those things are finished design. But it didn't pay to hold him up for, let him release him from the project.
So those allowances, that was a deduct. Was it the allowances in the bid or the contractor gave us those allowances?
No, they were in the bid.
So,
They were in the bid.
you know.
Yes, I do. They were in the bid.
Okay, thank you. So the only thing we had was an addition, the whole contract was $700.
That's right. That's been our one change order, to put a plaque up that was a plaque that was given to us, and it was a wall mounted, and it's gonna have a pole, a base.
Good, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Can we consider maybe in the future that we can use this particular park, like if we want to honor someone from the community, or if we want to put something up, maybe that's a great place to put those type of items all throughout downtown. But of course, that's another additional thing. Maybe that's something to consider. It's just an idea.
Yeah, something like a temporary thing, because the way
Yeah.
it's situated, it
Sort of
wouldn't
like
be
the Bunk
permanent.
Johnson one. That's
But if
kinda-
we did something temporary, we're also gonna rent it.
Right.
We're also working, we had a couple of meetings with Heather and my staff, and we're coming up with some new rates. We have that new park, we have other pocket parks coming, we have all kind of grant things that are in the works that we're trying to do. Got with Jane, we all got together, and we're gonna have some rates to rent all these, what a deposit would be, what a cleanup fee would be, because we'd like to see, just like the front of this building, we get a lot of requests, but we really don't rent it. Well, why not? So we're kind of looking at where we could do some economical rental that people could use it, but on a temporary basis, like if that's an area that we wanted to hold a function to honor someone and do some great use for it.
A good cultural thing for the community.
Cool.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Nope. Please vote your machines. Thank you. Item 7C.
Resolution accepting the municipal water pollution prevention environmental audit report for LPDES permit number LA 0120201.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Broussard. Do I have a second? Second. Councilman Lewis. Is there any discussion? Please vote your machine. D.
Resolution accepting the municipal water pollution prevention environmental audit report for LPDES permit number LA 0065251.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Broussard, second by Councilman Swift. Do we have any discussion? Please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Item 8.
Recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Commission. A recommendation of approval for 602 Julia Street owned by Keisha Spencer so that Peril Health Services can occupy the building for the purpose of a home health company office.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Broussard. Second. Second by Councilman Lewis.
I walked the block and there was
Yes,
no,
sir.
no
Mr. Broussard.
complaint. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
But I walked the block and there was no complaints at all. This is a health center that they have lots of nurses going in and out. But it's gonna be a good thing for our community.
Okay, good. Jimmy's coming up. You no?
I'm Dennis.
Oh, all right. You're just getting ready. Any further discussion on this item? No? Great. Please vote your machine. Thank y'all. Jimmy, up. Item 9, property stand.
Revisit demolition of property located at 608 Providence Street.
Did you talk with him,
Any-
Mr. Jimmy?
Huh?
He's not here, I don't think, to represent the
No,
property. so
I don't think anybody's here.
I think that, was that the one with the issue with the, the toilets in the backyard?
Yep.
Okay, I passed the other day, I couldn't really see. Did you get a chance to go and,
Yeah, he's boarded it up.
That's what I figured.
He's still got a little bit of trash.
Okay.
He did board it up, though.
So
But he did board it up,
And
so.
he did remove, put the toilets on the inside like I'd asked. Yeah, they're not in the backyard anymore on the ground. Yeah. Okay. So what you suggest, Mr. Jimmy, with the?
Remove it,
Okay.
take it out.
Okay, you wanna take it off the demolition list? That is my recommendation.
Okay, we have a recommendation and a second. Recommendation by Councilmember Guidry and a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? Please vote your machines. And this is a real victory. And I
Yes,
want
it
to
is.
notice that we listened, we used Councilwoman Lopez's idea, and you now get a sheet that has whose district is in, who's responsible for it, and we even have a little cap sheet now that shows you how many times it's come up before us. And I think that's important because sometimes people say we don't move quick enough, but this thing went all last year, okay? But now we've had, it's been a year.
Yeah.
But now we had a victory. The city didn't have to spend any money, and the person stepped up who's the property owner and did what we asked them to do. So I think it's kind of cool. When you look at it from one hand, you can be like, it took a year, nothing got done, but on the flip side, by working with people, being patient, and getting them to interact, we are actually saving the city money and getting something accomplished. So I thought it was good, but this is a good idea.
I think also too, I think it's the fact what takes a good bit of time, and I think maybe Mr. Jimmy can agree with me, is the back and forth with the mail. I think that takes up a majority of the time allotted for the demolition list. Secondly, I think between Mr. Jimmy and myself and the actual person that has this residence, a lot of calls and a lot of follow-ups, and I did a lot of calls and a lot of follow-ups, and I think he did come to the city council a few times. So
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
I think it's a team effort, working on all sides, and that makes it work.
Yes, thank you.
I'm surprised he's not here when it's getting okay. He got to meet up for 3 meetings.
He got to get 3 meetings and.
I didn't
talk about how
beat
tall
him
the
up, Mr.
waterproof
Dahl.
and,
The first meeting.
First meeting, yeah, first meeting.
Oh, I did? Oh.
Yeah, only the
in a
first
nice
meeting.
way.
Oh.
The second meeting, no. So.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
All right,
Item 9B.
Revisit demolition of property located at 306 South Hopkins Street.
is there anyone here for that property? All right. There hasn't been much done.
Right, that's Marlowe's.
All the, nope, that's Sherry. Isn't that Sherry's?
Yes, yes it is. Is that Miss Dolores?
It's okay. Okay, sorry, I thought it was yours.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Miss Dolores.
Yes. And so we said that we made, if nothing was done and he wasn't gonna get boarded up, and
You
I've
can
made
see.
several calls to Miss Dolores over and over and over again.
Yep,
I think letters were sent out,
yes,
public hearings was done.
yes.
I did another follow-up call, I think
This-
last month.
And this is
And
the
a month
third
before that.
revisit.
Yes. Did you hear from the family or from Miss Dolores?
No, I haven't heard from anybody.
Well, I make a motion to take it down.
What's your recommendation?
My recommendation is to demolish the property.
Okay, do we have a second? Motion and a second.
Well, if I have to second my own motion, I can second. Cause it's a, okay.
You won't have to.
Okay.
I don't think you can do that, but you
You
can try.
can't? Okay.
So, who's our second? Mayor Pro Tem Stahl.
I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
So we have first and a second. Do we have any other discussion?
I got a question.
Yes.
So, Mr. Jimmy, once we do this, because this is my first one that I actually made a recommendation, what do we do?
After this, the file goes to the attorney.
Okay, to Mr. Jeff?
Yep.
Okay,
To make
and-
sure we've notified
Mhm.
everybody that we need to notify and everything's done.
And how
to
long
the
is
city.
that process?
I do not know, 'cause I don't know what I'll find. And this is the first one of these that I've seen in a long time.
Well, the other thing is, once a notification is going out to the particular residents, and then after that, you do an asbestos test and all that, and then...
After I get the file back from Jeff, I'll do
Okay.
an asbestos test.
Okay.
Once I find out if it has asbestos or not,
Mhm.
then we'll do a bid.
Mhm. And I just want to make it known that I'm not here to take down anyone's property, but I know Mr. Jimmy and I have worked closely with this particular property, and I've, back and forth. And I don't think, is she here today? No?
No,
Okay.
she's not here.
Okay. And last I spoke with her, I told her what the next recommendation would have been, and I think she clearly understood that, so. And did you hear from her?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. Do we have any other discussion? If seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank y'all.
You don't vote? Oh.
Great.
All right.
Okay,
Madam Clerk?
revisit demolition of properties located at 1019, 1021, 1031, 1033, 1035, 1041, 1043, 1045, 1047, 1049, 1053, 1055, 1057, 1059, and 1061 Short Street.
And that was pretty good. Frank came to my office today.
Okay, he's moved 3.
He's moved 3. Came today, said that he couldn't be here tonight, has moved 3, said he's got 6 more that he is going to move, and basically said if I don't move them in a month, then I'm tearing every one of them down. Okay, I said, well, if you don't, I guess we will, but I can't speak for the council, okay? But he basically did come today and said, I've moved 3, which he has. I have 6 more lined up. I'm working with the mover. If that doesn't happen in a month, I realize I have to tear him down, or y'all are gonna tear him down. So I didn't speak for the council. I just said, you better do something. So, but he did come today, said he couldn't be here tonight. That's kind of what I know.
And I did have a lady call about the process, and she came and picked up a sheet to go to the 4 companies, Public Works, AT&T, Clico, and Cox, to get the signatures to be
Good,
able
and
to
Mr.
move.
Leroy was telling me something?
I got 3 today.
You got 3
You got-
today?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, obviously something else is happening, which is good. Natalie?
I just have that was gonna be one of my questions, was about the utilities, because that was a big problem. Every time they wanna move one, they have to go through this whole process again, like we couldn't get clearance for all of them for utilities?
No, it depends on the location they moving to. See, the lady that called me is taking 2 of them.
For the route.
Yes.
You worried about the route of how they getting out?
Yeah,
what
how they
direction
getting
going
out, and it's the
Right,
lines.
no, I'm
it's
talking
the-
about the whole, like, everything being cut off and all that. All that's in the clear.
Oh, yeah, that's all done.
That's done.
Frank already moved 3.
The gas company, can you remember we had an issue with the
No, I
gas
remember we
company?
talked about it, but I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure it's clear
No,
for
no,
everything.
that's all
It doesn't
done.
matter who wants to move them.
Yes.
I know you
Demo-
have to get clearance for
demo-
your route. I mean,
yeah.
my
Right,
cousins
yeah.
own a trailer moving company.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about just if I want to go buy one of Frank's buildings tomorrow, all I have to do is get my mover to come to do with you, do my route. Everything else is in the clear.
Everything else.
So he
is-
has clearance to move them.
Yep,
All of them.
Yeah,
yep,
because you remember
whatever.
we got involved with the gas
Right, no, I
company
just
and
wanna,
talked to
I wanna,
them and got
we
all
said
this
we would
thing.
do an update, you know, and then he has another month, so I just wanna make sure
Yeah.
all that's clear. Okay.
The only problem now is the rain.
You got 2 weeks of clear weather. Rain's not gonna be an issue.
Jimmy's already on
He
it.
blames nature a lot.
Well, yeah. It's one of those things.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion on this item?
Well,
Yes, sir.
thank y'all for taking care of my business.
We waiting on you?
Thank y'all for taking care of my business. I talked to him too as well.
Good.
And he gave me what we gave you. Same thing. He said he was gonna be moving them by April 1st. You know, so it seems like to me he asked us to order them demolish them so they can get done. You know, it sounds like the family, if we give them more time, the family's gonna play on that. So we
So if you, it's up to you.
well, he's moving them, and he said if he doesn't move them by the 1st, like he told the mayor,
What he tell
he's
you?
gonna demolish them.
Okay.
So I asked him, I said, so what you want me to make a motion to demolish them? So he kind of, you know, giving me a recommendation.
Okay.
But is it a way to just put it on record that if he doesn't move them by the 1st, then we demolish them? So, you know, it's still, he's working, he's working on getting them out of there. He assured me that he's working on getting them out of there.
Okay.
Okay,
I mean,
30 days would be May 1st.
Well, I mean, 30 days, I mean, yeah, I don't see why not give him 30 days. I mean, April 1st,
If he
right
says,
around the corner.
if he says he's gonna move them by April the 1st,
Yeah,
and if he doesn't move them, he's gonna tear them down,
that's what he said,
well,
yeah.
then May 1st,
So we
it
kinda
should
had a
be done.
stalemate.
Yeah.
We had
I'm
a
thinking May
stalemate.
1st, it should be done.
You know, so give him some time to do what he's doing already.
Yeah.
And I would say May 1st, we come back and demolish him. 30 days, we gave him 60 last time.
Yeah.
Give him 30 this time, and then we make the motion.
I'm gonna get to everybody, but I saw our attorney had his hand up. Let's see.
I don't want to be demolishing anything that he'll demolish.
Exactly.
Right. That's my, Mayor.
It's true, because it costs us money.
Yeah.
And that's my question, Mayor. You said he said, like, if I don't move them, tear them down. Is he saying
No.
he's gonna tear them down, or he wants us to tear them
What
down?
he told me,
He
and
will.
I'd like Marlo to
He
back,
will.
he would tear him down.
Okay.
He didn't say we had to tear him down.
All right, I
And
just
if we don't
want
wanna
to
tear him down,
clarify,
it costs
because
us money.
him and we are two.
Yes, no.
Oh, okay.
I want it to be torn down out of his pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Marlo, you have anything else?
No, I'm just kind of thinking about what you were saying. I heard you answer. He said he talked to the movers. The movers are in line. I mean, the demolition and the movers are in line. So you got to give them at least 30 days to get that done.
You saying 30 days to demolish it?
Revisit.
Clear the block?
Oh, let me say it this way.
Yeah,
We hadn't moved the house yet. This man is moving houses, so let the man move the houses. That's what I'm saying.
So you're saying
No,
revisit in 30 days,
Revisit in 30 days.
May 1st.
I mean, you said it all. I mean, we want him
Yeah.
to pay for it.
Oh, yeah, I do. But I like the fact that we leaving it on the, we still talking about it. We giving him, you know, some time, but we're leaving it up in the system.
I mean, we literally beating a dead horse. The houses are dead. The horse is dead. Stop whipping it. Let's get this going on. They're gone. As far as I'm concerned, they're gone. It just takes time. Y'all know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime. Do we have some more comments?
Marlon got a good point about the dead horse. But being that he kept his word,
Yes.
and we came here, he said himself, 60 days, if they're not done, anything's done, they're gonna be down, and he held his word. So now, like I'm gonna agree with Marlon on this. It's got to whatever time it takes him to move him. Let's give him the time. If he's doing it, putting his effort forward to move him, that's fine. So if Marlon wants to put 30 days, then that's fine. Even if it took 6 days, if he's still moving the houses and he's getting it done, I say let's just keep working with him, because it's not costing us any money.
Making progress.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Yes.
Question. When we demolish a house and we don't own the property, it's not adjudicated to us, that cost does go to the taxes on the house?
Yes.
Okay.
Which if we don't collect the taxes, we don't collect the money.
Right. So that's why on Civic Source, they always have, if it's demolished or something, they have that fee there. Okay. So it's not like we don't necessarily get our money from the houses if we sell the property.
Yeah, it's a big if. In other words, so you tie up, if there's no asbestos, you're tying up $3,000, let's say. You tie $3,000 of the city's money up. If nobody buys it, that could sit for years. And there's no other action to take, so it just sits there. And then we have to start cutting the grass. So then we cut the grass, so now I'm throwing good money out the bat. Now I might get it back, but we sure got a whole lot of mites out there that we haven't got back.
But it just sounded like, he definitely wants to have the property.
Yes,
He
ma'am.
wants to maintain the property. So if we had to do it, I think he would pay probably.
Well, you would hope, but that
If we had to. This
puppy
had
might not
to.
hunt. We might be waiting for our money. I don't know.
Not necessarily if we want to do it,
Yes,
but,
ma'am. I don't know that he would. Jeff, you had your hand up again?
Yeah, there are two ways we can recover the money. One is we can add the cost of the demolition to the taxes, which we may or may not ever get.
Right.
Or we can file a lien on the property, which is like a mortgage. But it's really just a placeholder, because the lien's good for a limited amount of time, and we don't get any money out of it unless we file a suit on that lien to seize the property and sell it. And what we're finding when we look at some of these things carefully as far as ownership is concerned, we got some owners who've got some problems that happened before our demolition came along. So they've got judgments, they got liens, they got tax bills.
We got to get in line.
They got problems, and we're in line. So, we have some remedies, but sometimes the pocket's empty, and we're not going to get our money back in many of these situations. So, the more we can do to bring people along, to get the project done. If we have to take it down, we take it down. But we take it down for public safety reasons, not because we know we're going to get the money back.
Yeah.
And Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I think I talked to you about it. Even on Civic Source, I'm finding that some people's, the costs that they charging for these lots are not worth the value of the lot. So that's why we're having trouble selling some of these pieces of property, because the cost is more than the value of it. And who's going to pay more than the value of a lot when you got to put improvements?
You're making item 13B tougher and tougher, man. I'm trying to sell them at every meeting. But you're exactly right. Well, you have to look at Civic Source has to warranty the title. Okay, so they got to issue title insurance. They have to try to clear the titles up. They do put some work in. But you're right. Sometimes the property, the value of it, and what we have to pay to get it out of the rolls is about even.
I just wanted to add, I agree with Mr. Jeff as well and my colleagues, but if it's posing a health problem or a situation for the community, or it's being used for drug activity, or it's just wide open for just about any and everything, then I think it poses a threat to our the neighbors is near and to our community. So, we can try to recover our money, or we can keep on giving them more days, and I'm all for that. But but if it's causing a problem or a threat or a hazard to the community or to the neighbors adjacent to it or across from it, I think we need to really consider, instead of just continue to patty cake with these particular items. I'm talking about my particular item, not Mr. Lewis's his item on the agenda. So that's just where I'm at with it. I just want to make our community better.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Ms. Gidry, I'm with you 100% on that. Patty caking and all that, you know.
Beating a dead horse.
Beating a dead horse. But at the
Patty
same
caking.
time, if we vote to demolish these homes,
Yes.
where's the money coming from to demolish the homes? So the home might sit there for another.
Well-
How long are these houses gonna sit until it's demolished?
I got a question for you. Where you live, if you had something, can you put that back on the screen, Mr. Jimmy?
Which one? Which one you want?
306.
Yeah.
I think it was 306 South Hopkins Street. Yeah, I mean,
That's the inside of the back door.
yeah, that's the back
door's
door.
open.
And my thing is, if you had that on the side of your house, and for several years, and we keep just putting it on the demolishes as a neighbor, and we're allowing that and stuff, that brings your value of your property down. Secondly, I believe that when we demolish it, yes, it does cost us a little bit, but the thing about it is we can try and recover our money by selling the property. Selling the property through Civic Source, or maybe using it for pocket parks or doing something useful with it besides it just looking like that. If I stayed behind that, or you did, I don't think you want that in your backyard or on the side of you or across from you. But I think there's another picture to this, Mr. Jimmy?
That's the front of it.
Yeah, the back and the sides. That's the back door, you said?
Yeah, you see the two doors, that's the building in the
And when I
back.
passed a while back, I seen some people going in and out. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's posing a threat. So either someone can get hurt, or drugs can continue to take place in certain areas where it's abandoned. I'm not necessarily saying that particular area, but I am saying that I think our lives are more important than a little cost, and I think our communities are more important as well. In our neighborhoods, and we want to take back our neighborhoods by cleaning things like this up, and I don't think there's a cost on that.
I'm not gonna disagree with you on that, but
Absolutely.
what I'm saying is, we've been seeing these houses in these areas, so once the houses in District 6 come up, believe me, I do see some in District 6, and they are sold.
I don't think it is big.
Oh,
It's
believe
that
me,
bad,
I will
yeah.
show you some in
Yeah.
District 6, and we're gonna, and I'll let you determine where we sit from there. I mean, I'm not arguing the point of, no, these houses, they do need to be torn down, believe me. I'm with you on that 100%. But how long will these houses be standing that's my question.
Standing, you mean as is?
How long does it take to tear it down?
How long does it take to tear the house down, Mr. Jimmy?
That's all a money
From-
issue.
From the,
I mean, you know,
We
it
have-
doesn't take
What-
long to knock
Right,
a house
but
down.
he just wants, you
Yeah.
want the timeline? Yeah.
Right.
He meant the money.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
And how long has this been on the demolition list, sir?
306,
Yes, sir. South Hopkins Street?
we presented it to the council on April the 18th. It's on your sheet.
Right, but
Yeah.
he was on, I think
Yep.
he was on there before that, though. Wasn't
Oh,
it
I'd
on
have-
there?
I'd have to go
when
back and look in the
When we came into
records.
this, okay.
But
Might have been on from the
when we
last administration.
Yeah, the last administration.
We fooled with it for a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, and it's been like that.
Yeah.
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 2014.
Then it stopped.
I thought that's what I had in my
Well, I think they
packet.
boarded it up.
They
did
boarded it up
thing,
then.
And then it went off,
Mhm.
and then we put it back on.
Yeah, because it got worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is,
2014.
we're gonna end up with, and I can just speak as the mayor, because I don't have a council district, okay? We're gonna end up with, we already are, we have way more houses than we can ever tear down with the money we have.
Right.
So it's gonna become, it already is really, a case-by-case basis, and that's the rub we're gonna encounter. Everybody up here's got energy, everybody up here's in their district doing what they gotta do.
Yes.
We know that we don't have enough money to tear them all down, so it's gonna become case-by-case. And I think we're developing a sense of where are the worst ones, what are the ones that we need, what impacts the neighborhoods the most, what impacts the crime. When the police department starts rolling, we're gonna get some hot spots in some areas that we're gonna say, hey, that house has to move up because of the problems that are encountered there, or it's a public safety issue, or which ones are falling apart that are about to fall over. Our parameters are gonna change, I think, as we go along,
City police.
because it's all about public safety. And we really should be knocking them down for one reason, public safety.
Yes.
but we got a lot of them, you know. But we'll get there.
Yes, sir.
This is all part of it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Councilwoman Lopez.
Thank you.
I just want to speak from a standpoint of, you know, this is my second term, and I've never had to demo a house. I think I might have had two on that we've ever even addressed. It's a rarity in my district, and I mean, I feel lucky and blessed that I don't have to deal with that struggle. But I'm with the mayor. You know, it's true. I mean, I do feel lucky because it would be very heavy on my heart if I had to make a motion to demolish a house.
Yes.
And I can see that in you tonight as you're talking, and I see that's why you keep going back to it, because it is heavy on your heart.
It's heavy on my heart because of the fact that I think of the neighbors that live around there. I think of the people across the street that have teenagers that goes to the high school on Jefferson Island Road. I'm looking at them, people coming out of these particular homes, and they don't live there. I'm looking at some of the activity that's taking place, and then I keep getting these calls and questions, you know, as their representative in their voice, you know, what are we doing about these types of structures that's just sitting there, or dwellings that's not producing anything good in our neighborhoods. And I think maybe back in the day that might have been slightly all right, but with all the crime and the different things that's taking place now, I think we just need to, you know, I can just only speak from my standpoint. I think we just need to be real, and if I'm going to be a voice for the people that continues to call me and concern about people hiding in these homes in the dark, they don't come out their house at a certain time because of structures that's standing like this since 2014. It is weighing heavy on my heart, but at some point we have to make a decision about our constituents that put us in this seat, and I just want to be a clear voice on what's going on concerning these particular structures that's just sitting there. And I want these elderly people to be able to come out on their porches and feel safe and not think somebody's hiding in these particular structures.
Correct.
And if someone wanted to actually do something and put something since 2014 or since this year, there were several attempts to do so. So, you know, and I even offered several other options that can help her to do it. So it is weighing on my heart, but I think of the kids in that neighborhood, the elderly that lives all in that little, Mr. Lewis know what I'm talking about, around that particular little vicinity. Those rent houses all along Hopkins, right in that area, and things like that. And I'm just thinking of the teenagers and the elderly. So.
No, and I understand. And I want to clarify that. You know, I'm big on respecting everyone and respecting your role and your district, and whatever anyone feels that their recommendation is for a house. Unless I personally get calls from neighbors, I'm gonna respect what your decision is, because that's your district. Those people elected you to help them, and you're the one that has to deal with the good, the bad, the backlash, and everything else.
I can handle it.
Great. No, you know, we had some going back and forth, and I just want to clarify that, you know, I respect what each member wants to do. It's your district, it's your responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Natalie.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now we've gone all around the world, and it's been a really good discussion, okay? Look, for 8 years, I had to vote to tear people's things. I don't get to vote now. I wish I did. So sometimes it's tough. I mean, I know the pressure. Oh, yeah, I can vote for it? Sometimes it's tough. Why you didn't give me that for some other issues? No, I'm picking on you. Now we're right back to Marlon, because we've had a great discussion, but we haven't taken any action on item 9C.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I made a motion for 30 days.
Okay.
I made a motion for 30 days.
Okay, so now I just need a second. I got a second. Councilwoman Lopez. And if our discussion's finished, you have anything else to say?
Well, I
you
have
can.
one
Great,
thing I
go,
have to say,
go.
and it's concerning these houses on
Yes, sir.
Hopkins Street.
Yes,
I have one that's demolished, that was set up to be demolished. 706 Hopkins in my district. Now, I'm not gonna let us leave this discussion without talking about that.
I'm gonna
That-
refer you
that-
to the attorney.
Now, that house right there, they hide
We-
drugs,
we
they
agree
hide
with you.
guns. That house, and I'm not saying anything against this house, that house has way more activity that is harmless to the community than that house. I'm not telling y'all what I heard, I'm telling y'all what I know.
What we know.
And what I seen, way more activity. They put up a sign saying to be demolished. You know, the little guys came and bent the sign so the sign don't say no trespassing. And it was an iron sign, so, you know.
That was not done right, and we're gonna have to revisit that.
Yeah, that's coming again.
We gotta get,
We've got to do it right, and we've talked about it, and we've decided that every once in a while, a mistake happens, we're gonna back up and do it again. We're not too proud to say that we're gonna revisit it. It's coming back, and we're gonna make sure that all the service is right. We're gonna make sure that everything's done correctly so that we can proceed with it. But it is one that Jeff has been working on for a while, along with Jimmy, and we realized we had a mistake. So we are hitting the restart button. It's not going away, it's coming back. We're gonna hit the restart button of it, start the legal process again, and go all through it again.
because I'm tired of hearing Hopkins Street is a gold mine and look like an atomic bomb passed through.
Yes, sir.
So it's a landmine.
Well,
We start getting some of these issues resolved.
I agree with you, but we do know that that's one that we have to revisit. Have we made any progress on that? Or we?
Yeah, we made some, but it's, and that one's got plenty of liens on it ahead of us.
Yeah.
So we got, is it fair to say we got some work to do on that?
Yes, sir.
But we're gonna get
But
it
we're
done.
gonna do it, yeah. My message is, we're hitting the restart button. We are gonna work on it. We're already gonna do it. It does have some legal issues, so that's.
Okay. Well, my motion is for 30 days for the,
And I second it.
Great. And it's been seconded. So if we're done, please vote your machines. Great, thank y'all. Good discussion. We did 10A, so now we on 10B.
Presentation by Kevin Zarang, City Treasurer, of the November 1, 2017
Aye.
through January 31st, 2018 budget to actual comparisons.
Feels like deja vu. We're going to do the same procedure as we did last time, and we'll just kind of hit some of the highlights, do the summary, and then open it up for questions. A couple of items I wanted to point out was the insurance. If you notice, we have 58.6% of the budget, and that is because the annual policy for the building was paid all at once instead of 1/12. For finance, if you notice, the revenue is 32.10%, and that's because the ad valorem tax that was allocated to them was recognized all in 1 month versus 1/12 each month. As well as the 30.34% of expenses. That's because we had a computer update and the tax roll hit us all at once. So over time, that's it's going to level itself out. Planning and zoning is the same as previous month. The numbers are out of sync because of Church Alley. We did not budget the expenses and the reimbursements in this year. We were expecting it to all hit last year. So over time, it will level itself out, because as we pay the expenses, we'll submit it for the remainder for reimbursements. We haven't collected all of the reimbursements we have submitted to date. Nonprofit allocation, we're at 37.7 because we made the veterans allotment all at once.
I got a question. Mr. Kevin, or maybe the mayor can ask me, for the nonprofit payouts and stuff like that, do we have to go with the same ones every year, or can we can change it if we need to?
Oh, basically, the
someone apply to-
nonprofits really aren't, quote, nonprofit I mean, they're not what I would normally think as nonprofit organizations. That also includes our responsibility for the Bayou Teche Museum, Veterans Allotment. In your package, there would be a breakdown of the 21,000. So it's not as if we're donating funds to, just picking one off the top, March of Dimes.
Right.
But I'll tell you that the council is budgetary, and that when we come to the budget time, you're free to discuss that, and if you come up with
That's all I'm
something,
asking.
yes,
Yes, sir.
we can. Do we have the funds, or is the budget, strong enough to do those kind of things? We'll have to wait and see, but, as your role as budgetary, you can bring up what you want to bring up, and we can discuss it. That's all part of the process. Yes, sir.
Mayor, we used to, probably 5 years ago, we used to have a list of nonprofit, really nonprofit
Oh, yeah.
organizations we could give monies to. Then when things got tight, we started cutting back, and then other ones were getting pretty upset. So we went back to the original, like IDF is something that helps the city promote business, and the vets, of course. And the only one I had a question with the museum, what are we paying the museum, the $7,000?
We pay,
'Cause I know-
I think, the insurance on the building for the museum.
It's the upkeep, and originally it went up to 11,900 because we had to replace the roof.
Yeah, you see, we're responsible for the roof, we're responsible for the exterior of the building. The museum, we own the building, the museum foundation runs the museum. So they staff it, they do the exhibits, they pay the day-to-day costs. But we are responsible for the shell of the building, and that's.
Because Jeff just asked, but I think they pay their own utilities, huh?
They do pay the utilities,
They
but
do.
we
You
have,
pay maintenance
we
and
have some
insurance?
insurance and some maintenance.
And that's what that is?
Yeah, yeah,
And
we
that
had some
changes.
roof problems.
Um,
And we're applying for some grants right now, just to tell you, because it kind of fits in, where we see problems, we're trying to correct them any way we can. The building does have some issues. At the Slime is a good example. We're trying to restore the marquee. There's a little roof on top of the marquee that's bad. There's some wall deterioration, you know, when you go in the Slime and that one wall to the right that's really crumbling. That's from something called rising damp. It's a masonry condition. We're trying to take care of that. So what we've done is apply for some grants to do that, because we know it is ultimately our responsibility.
But the museum is divided and it is separate than the Slime.
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay. So that's why it's two different
Correct.
line items.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Okay. So overall, the general fund is at 24.36% of its revenue and 24.04% of its expenses. 3 months, which covers November through January, is 25%. So the general fund is pretty much on target. I wanted to point out on Parks and Recreation, they're at 62% of their revenue, because when we receive the initial tax roll assessment, 100% of revenue is recognized in the first month, and they receive a portion of the ad valorem taxes. The same thing with Public Works. They also receive the ad valorem taxes. That was it to the items I wanted to point out. Do we have any questions?
Any questions? All right. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
All right. Now we move on to item 11, items for discussion.
Mr. David Broussard to discuss the closing of the Wildlife and Fisheries Office on Darnell Road in Iberia Parish by the State Department.
All right, Mr. B, you up?
A very important meeting happened yesterday morning. A lot of people that's in this room showed up at this meeting. We had a Mr. Fred Mills in there. We had a man, Mr. Jack Monacy, if I'm pronouncing his name right, was the head man of Wildlife and Fisheries. He stated several things that shocked a lot of us. Now, maybe somebody in this room, some people in this room, and some legislators knew for a whole month or two that this was going on. But the citizens didn't have any kind of drift of what's going on. This Monacy fella has decided himself. These are what these departments do. Just like out turning arrow on Admiral Dahl. Certain department heads tell us what's right. They decided to move our building. Been there for 30 or more years, strategically very well located, put it that way, with Vermilion Bay. And we're half. This guy was giving us some information we didn't know either. Half of the basin. That building is responsible. So this fella right here, Jack Monacy, signed a buy and sell agreement for a $7 million building in Lafayette, or on the other side of Lafayette. I don't want to misquote anything. To combine all three. That means the one in Lafayette has a wildlife fishery, I'm sure. They're putting that in the new building. They're moving the new Iberia one over there. And the Opelousas one. They're probably seeing it on this TV right here. since we didn't know a lot about this, we're asking the citizens. Our last shot is to get the governor not to sign this agreement. Didn't go in front of the legislature or the Senate. It did just overnight decided to move 60 people. Like Craig Romero said, they make 20, 25,000, 30,000 a year, not 100 and whatever thousand this Montessori fellow makes. But he said it was no problem for them to travel to Lafayette. You don't think we're gonna lose half of those people in Lafayette? Like the mayor said at that meeting, we're tired of losing everything Iberia Parish has to Lafayette. We need to keep them here. So I'm asking all the citizens to call up this governor. The address is, well, it's John Bell Evans, P.O. Box 94004, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70804. The phone number, call him, 225-342-7015. And Mr. Freddie Decourt, I think you have a letter, if not mailed to him already. I think you have one ready.
Yes.
And it better be real stern. We don't want to lose anything. And it's in a parish, it's a parish building. We shouldn't be talking about it. But all the parish, all the citizens who has boats and deal with outdoors, we need to keep our state building right here. And please call this governor or mail him a shootout. So please, Mr. Mayor, please get us that letter.
I will.
And I think somebody's going to visit the governor Thursday morning. So it's very serious. And Opelousas people, if you see this on your TV, I know the camera goes pretty far. Y'all get involved and call too. Don't lose your building. Thank you.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Councilwoman Lopez.
Very informative, Mr. Broussard. I appreciate all this information. And I was just leaning towards the newspaper. I'm hoping and interested that our local chapters of the CCA, Coastal Conservation Association, and Ducks Unlimited, I hope that these leaders and volunteers in our community step up and reach out to our state level and voice their opinion, because these are our guys who this is their hobby, and they're the ones that are out there on the weekends all year, and if something happens, they're the ones that need wildlife and fisheries more than anyone.
Yes.
Yeah, I think why we didn't see our legislatures and all that be so involved is that wildlife and fisheries operates on their own funding from their licenses, and they have their own funding that they operate their whole department with. So it's something that they really can control more than when they have legislature decisions to make with budget. They don't get part of this because they operate upon themselves, and that's why they kind of can almost do what they want without the legislatures being involved in their decision making. What I got.
Yes, Councilman Gidger.
I just want to thank Mr. Broussard for his passion, also too, and giving us that information. I was there at the meeting as well, along with Mr. Councilman Dustin Swear and Councilman Broussard and the mayor. And I just really want to thank the mayor for getting up there on behalf of the citizens of New Iberia and getting up there and really expressing the fact that our citizens want to keep that building, the wildlife and fishery here. I seen the disappointment in a lot of the people, constituents that we all represent, and I ask too that they reconsider as well. And like Ms. Lopez said, maybe some of the coalitions, that's coastal coalitions, can also make that call. And what's that number again, Mr. Broussard? 225-342-7015, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I don't understand the common sense of it either, as spending over $6 million for a building when we have some great opportunities along Highway 90. We have great opportunities here in New Iberia, and the cost of living in Lafayette is more expensive than it is here. So that's my logic and take on it, and I hope that they reconsider this decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Swear.
Just like I said yesterday morning in that meeting, we lose every day to Lafayette Parish. Every day in the private sector, every day we're battling left and right. And to have it come from the governor's office doing the same thing, it's really getting frustrating. The parish is losing a lot, and when the parish loses, we lose. We lose, and it's really starting to hurt, and it's hitting home. So I appreciate the ones that were there yesterday, and everyone else that's in the room that were there yesterday. It's really frustrating because I believe that it's not signed, but by Friday, I believe that was the date. The governor's supposed to sign that paper. And like I said yesterday, normally when someone signs a buyer-seller's agreement, they have it all in the intention to go ahead and make that purchase. And I hope, and I'm saying some prayers that what happened yesterday can maybe be a game changer and maybe make them, change their mind. So, but I just wanted to express that, and thanks for everyone. Thanks for Mr. Broussard for putting on the agenda. Thanks for Mr. Gotchson, Mr. Lamont getting up and speaking on behalf of this agenda item, because it's really important, and it's something, if we lose this, it's another downfall that we got to try and pick ourselves back up. So, but thank y'all again for letting me speak on this item.
Good. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I want to apologize for not being at the meeting yesterday morning. We had our kids mad over at ACE, the school in school suspension school at 9 o'clock. But and nor do I hunt and fish, but I know that that's a big part of our community, hunting and fishing. But I do know that we have a governor, with a D behind his name, and I have a D behind my name. I'm just gonna be real, and I have friends over in Baton Rouge, and I'm gonna make some calls to see if they can talk to the governor and pull his coat, literally. Because I want to, is that number his cell phone number?
I don't think we have that.
No, that's the office.
That's the office.
You might be able to Google it. Dan has Taylor by herself. You need to have the meeting.
So, I'll call my state rep and find out what can be done. I'm gonna do my part. You got a
Good. Well, I did attend the meeting myself, and I find it odd that just a few years ago they were studying to spend millions of dollars here at this facility to improve it, and then it's just part of politics how things change, But look, any loss we have, any transaction that doesn't occur in our city or our parish, we're losing. We lose that money to Lafayette Parish, as we talked about, on a daily basis. As the mayor of the city of New Iberia, and also as a resident of Iberia Parish, we all in this together. If the parish succeeds, we succeed. If the city succeeds, they succeed. So I think that it is the teamwork. When I talked to Councilman Gachassin, who brought this issue forward, Councilman Broussard, when I watch our two councils work as well as they do, when the parish president and myself work as closely as we do, we're a team. This is our future. When I look at what we lose, there were remarks made that, the people that still live here. With our police department, we have people who are driving a half hour, 40 minutes, who have been hired. They're moving here. You're not going to drive and rag yourself out for year after year for a job. You're going to move to that location. So we are going to lose citizens over time. Or those guys are going to retire, and the next group, where are they going to come from? They come from Lafayette. You're not going to fill your truck up when you're working every day in New Iberia. You're going to do it in Lafayette. So we are going to lose business. We are going to lose revenue. And more importantly, it's just one more service and one more thing that our community, my parish, our citizens, all of us together, don't have here locally. One more reason that you got to drive to Lafayette. And when you do that, you're going to eat lunch. You're going to go shopping. You're going to spend other money, that could have stayed here. When we spend so much time about quality of life issues, about attracting, y'all know what we go through to try to attract new businesses. Y'all see what we go through in all of our efforts to grow our community, to get us moving again, to get our police department rolling, to get our crime down, to have that opportunity to attract new citizens. That's one more thing you got to go to Lafayette for. So that's why this is important. It's not even the money. It's just the point that we have to provide for our citizens, and we want to grow our community, our parish, and our city. And every time we lose something, that's just another chip on the block. That's just twice. We're not going to quit, but that's just twice as hard we have to work to attract something else to fill that void. So I think it's important. I'll tell you that going to the meeting, Senator Mills made a remark that just stuck with me, that he had rarely chaired a meeting that the solution was in the room. When I looked around at the horsepower of the room, Every local official was there that could be there. Many of us that couldn't be there, were there in spirit. When I looked at the community that came out, Pat Caffrey, the realtors, the people with, ID. When you look at everybody who came out and had a solution, they left that meeting and went and toured the old Votech school and 31 acres of property that the state already owns. So you don't have to spend $6.7 million. You have a facility at the highest point of land we have in our parish, and it's free. They already own it. So y'all know I'm not a big consolidation guy. Take that 6.7 that you're going to spend and invest it in what you already own. Now you did something, because costs continue to rise. What happens with every consolidation? Next thing you know, we got more people in one spot. We got to hire a few new people. Oh, it costs more to manage this than I thought. Oh, the building's bigger than I thought, and the maintenance audit is more. You're just shifting power. You're just shifting people, but you're not saving any money. You're playing. It's politics. It's politics. So, but the paper covered it. Everybody's been here, and it's just been great to see people pull together. But like I said, Fred Mills said it right. We had the solution in the room. When you look at the people that were there, it's just nice to see our community pull together on an issue like that and come together and just say, we're tired of losing. So I'll quit preaching. Yes, sir, Mr. Broussard.
One more reminder, please, it's urgent. This thing can be done by Friday. We're going to lose it. Please call at 225-342-7015. I sound like a commercial. But the people better get on it. I admit it. Hey, the people better get involved in the next couple of days.
That's right.
Mr. Broussard can steal that job at Crime Stop.
I'm telling you, man, he's got it going on. Great. Any further discussion? Thank you, and again, thanks to the parish for bringing that to our attention. Pleasure to work with y'all, and we'll keep it rolling. Madam Clerk, 11B.
Dan Doyle to discuss line of duty death benefits for the survivors of fallen police officers and firefighters.
Great. Mayor Pro Tem?
Well, Mayor, with the climate we have out there now, you have someone that go to a house call and get shot. And when I was looking at the news a while back when that gentleman, police officer, got shot going to a house, and the council was not paying the benefits for the spouse, I got like, really? They give their body, their soul, their family for a job that you don't know what you could walk into when you're a fireman or when you're a police officer. And then they get nothing in return. And I just wanted to make sure you gave us a copy here of what the line of duty death benefits are.
Yes.
And I wanted to make sure that this coverage was something that was part of our new police department to make sure that they got what they deserve. It doesn't happen often, but man, that's a lick when you go to work one day and you get shot and your family's left there with no spouse. So I wanted to make sure that this was part of the package that our police department that we are having now is part of. And I think what you gave us explains to exactly what they do get as a death benefit or for the health coverage. But I was just surprised that in Lafayette, they had such a discussion about this woman not getting this benefit. And they had to try to change an ordinance or they put a resolution, I think, to do this. Why this was not part of.
This was in place. I mean, if you look, we can go over it if you want.
Yeah, that's fine.
The death benefit from the federal government is $339,000 and some change. From the state, it's $250,000. So a person's family would receive both of those. The education on the state level, all tuition is paid. Room and board is waived at state-supported colleges and universities, so their kids get to get an education. There are other benefits for students. There are, let's see what else. If you're 50 and older, you have 90 days from the date of death to notify a plan, and you end up with continuing coverage for insurance. If you're under 50, you have a year of coverage. But if you're over 50, it continues. So you have some insurance coverage, and you have, like I said, $339,000 from the feds and $250 from the state, and your kids get a free education. But we wanted to bring this out so that people knew, because we were all concerned. I mean, I know what our law enforcement and firefighters go through and the risk they put in So these are the benefits that they do receive, and I wanted, we brought it up at a meeting a while back, Dan brought it up, thought it was very valid to research this and to look at it, and so that we all knew, exactly what benefits, if that, God forbid that happens, but, what our families of, all these law enforcement officers, all these farms, they are our family, we are a family. This is what they would receive.
But they
So-
did have it, Mayor, that you have 3 years that you can pay for it under COBRA.
Correct,
If
yes.
you're under 50.
Yes.
And at that time, they can have.
Right, that gives them up to 3 years, you're right, through October.
So I just wanted to let the public know, and I'm glad it's part of our new department, because that's something we don't think about until it actually does happen.
That's right.
And I'm glad you brought it out and put it on the agenda for us to talk about it.
Good. Any other discussion? Great, thank y'all. Item 10C.
Sherry Giddy to issue final report on the Tight and Right District 5 cleanup.
Councilwoman?
I was going to bring a bunch of pictures and this and that, but it's been a long week, and I just decided that we're going to let the work speak for itself. If you put a spark of faith out there and you plant a mustard seed, then you can bring in a harvest. And it was definitely a harvest of people that were out there. And from the bottom of my heart, I really want to thank the constituents that I represent, and also to people from all over Acadiana that came, traveled more than 25 to 30 miles just to come and pick up trash, unwanted items, and debris. And it was definitely a historical day for me, because I don't think in that particular sector area they had that many ethnicities all in one spot on the property ever, all getting along. Everybody was having a good time, and it was historical because the mayor of our city actually put on some gloves and came out there and was picking up trash and bagging it, and then picking up more trash and bagging it. Left and then came back to check to see if we needed more help. That's what I call teamwork, and that's what I call us working together as a new administration. The other thing that I wanted to thank was Mr. Leroy from the Public Works Department. When we ran out of gloves, trash bags, or whatever the issue was, we was replenished quickly, no problems. The Public Works guy was there with the truck and trailer, and I think we picked up almost a full, you can say a full trailer of, a back trailer of trash, and that's the black large yard bags. And that was on the streets. And if we didn't pick that up, I kept thinking, well, where would all this trash go? In our drainage system.
That's exactly right.
And so even though we weren't able to clean all of Ann Street, it's a very long street, at least the whole half of the street was clean. And for that, I'm grateful. The initiative was next to my heart. I worked tirelessly on it along with a lot of other people. And it just made my heart smile to see leadership and service go hand in hand together. Leadership and service. Not just leading, not just saying what needs to be done, not just sending a letter or making a call, but actually getting out there and demonstrating what needs to be done. My list is too long to go over on all the people that help, but I just want to thank everybody that actually participated in this particular event. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank every organization, every student, little children, you name it. Everybody was picking up trash. But it wasn't just about the trash. It was about bringing neighbors together in a time where we have crime in certain sectors of our city that we're trying to make better by bringing back the new Iberia Police Department. But this was the first time many of them told me that they came out of their homes and they actually came across the street or walked down the street with their other neighbors that lived there. And it was just, it was a feeling of the fear being dispelled at some point. It was a good time. Door prizes was awarded. Of course, the little children had fun on their fun jump and stuff, but it was more than about picking up trash. So again, I just want to thank everybody. And that's what I have to say about it.
I would like to commend you. I was there. I saw how organized it was. I know how hard you worked. I'm excited because it's the first of many to come. We've got a lot of districts, and this is something that we need to continue. I really got to see how well we pulled together, how well that I know each district will function the same way. So I'm excited about it. You were the first, and now, you know, I'm ready to do more and hope that various council people step up. You know, we had great cooperation from Public Works. We had people from every walk of life and from all kind of agencies in the community.
That's right.
And that's just a joy to see
blessing.
that, you know, we're coming together, and it was a great example of teamwork. But I want to thank you. I know how hard you worked on it. I know it got rained out. You had to reschedule. I mean, you've been working on this for a long time. I thought it was very well thought out, very well done. You know, a good model for the rest of our districts, and can't wait for that to continue. But thank you. Good job.
I just wanted to add also to the city council members, if you decide to do this, and of course, like the mayor said, y'all can customize it and call it whatever you want, but I have a little packet that I put together, that I researched and put together on the admissions, on how to receive the people, how to check them out if they leave the event early, that type of stuff. And also I have a little packet that I put together so to make the admission and the receiving of the people go a little bit smoother. So if you're interested in it, let me know.
You had a waiver?
I have a waiver liability form that was provided by this administration. So I have a whole little packet. If you're ready to go, I have it, and I'll be glad to lend it to any council person here. Thank you.
Great, great. Yes, Councilwoman Lopez.
I missed the first one got rained out. I was in a
ma'am.
wedding that day. The second one was my son's birthday party. Sorry, gotta have a birthday for my son. But I just want to say that I am very proud of you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Natalie.
Good. Mr. Broussard.
It was very good to see the groups of people you had, 4 or 5 in the group,
Yes, sir.
they included,
Yeah.
You were there.
getting it done. You know, we all
Mr.
did our
Broussard was
thing.
there too.
Yeah.
But we
I
did
forgot
them
about
years
Mr.
ago,
Broussard was there.
and we remembered those. We did them years ago,
Right.
and we're looking forward to pushing that idea further.
Good.
Thank you, man, for sharing. And I never got a certificate like that.
Yeah.
Man, in a long time.
Let me see your certificate, Mr. Broussard. There you go.
There you go.
You got one too.
I got
then.
one too.
Yes.
I'm a pile of paper.
Man,
There you
you
go.
do things first class when you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna try not to be long.
Councilman
I'm
Lewis.
not gonna make no
It's okay.
excuses.
It's on me.
I heard it was a success. I saw some pictures on Facebook. But you know, I'm a little jealous. Well, let me tell you why. You know, jealous is a healthy emotion if used in a positive manner.
Yes,
You're
sir.
shaming me to get out there and do
Oh,
the
I'm
same
so
thing.
sorry.
And
I
that's a
wasn't
good thing.
trying,
No,
I
I'm proud
promise.
of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you did. You made a model for us.
Yep.
You made a model for us. I commend you. I don't have no reason, no excuse other than I run a barbershop on Saturdays. I run
That's
a
right.
barbershop on Saturdays. And if there's anything that you're doing on a Saturday, if I can break away out that business, I'll do so. And if I can't, I will always lend you my financial support, because that's what I'm doing on Saturdays, you know. And I always lend you that support. Thank you for that model that you set for us. I'm proud of you with this initiative, and I'm gonna tell you, I wanna see us do Hopkins Street, and I say us because again, y'all have heard me say this before, and I'm saying it again. You got 4 council people that culminates Hopkins Street.
That's
We
right.
always hear.
And a mayor, and a mayor pro tem.
No, we're gonna get
Y'all got to go.
we're gonna get it together, you know. But it's just that, like you said, more important than presence of people working together. You know, I'm proud of you. You make us all proud. So,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'd like to say, my excuse was we did have a festival going on, and it was a good festival, and I'm glad you were able to pull off your event as well, being the weather. The weather did kind of mix up a few things, but like the rest of them, I'm very proud of you, and I'm hoping that we can all take it on, the initiative that you started, and I will be calling you to get your forms and your waivers and all those other ideas. That way it makes it easier for all of us when we have a leader that steps up and does something like that. So thank you for doing that for us as well. So I appreciate it.
I also want to say congratulations on being successful in the endeavor. I was not able to attend because I was out of town at a convention. And I would have been in October also out of town. But, you know, you had, even though I wasn't there physically, I was there in prayer and support for you. So congratulations on your success.
I feel like we're at confession.
Don't confess nothing now.
I had some issues going on, that's all I can say.
That's good enough.
What's my pen? Great job. Sharon.
Good, thank y'all, good discussion, good project. That was fun. All right, we got councilman remarks. Let's start on Natalie's side and roll it.
Just one, District 1 Neighborhood Watch is Monday. They moved them from Thursdays to Mondays. Monday, April 2nd at 6 p.m., which is the day after Easter. So if you're not too tired, come out and break some candy.
Thank you.
Well, in May the 12th, we're going to be bringing a teen summit to Anderson Middle School. We partnered with Anderson Middle School 7 years ago, 2011, in my town past. And now more than ever, we need to do something for our youth. We're trying to put something together May the 12th, which is a Saturday. It's an all-day teen summit for our youth from 7th grade all the way to senior high school. We want to do something to give them something to think about while they're out for the summer. So I'm gonna be advertising that, talking about that from now until then. Again, this is gonna be sponsored by the Western Neighborhood Association, Anderson Middle School, myself, and anybody else who want to partner with us. We definitely will appreciate it. It's not about namesakes; it's about those children, those babies having a little jolt of hope, that come out of that community, that they can know that, we're thinking about them, we love them, we're trying to give them some positive things to do and positive things to think about. So May the 12th, at Anderson Middle School, we're going to have a teen summit.
Good. Thank you. Mr. B.
Street lights. We open to putting any up? We've been talked about it a year and a half, about when we delegate at least one per district, maybe putting up a new street light for some people that are in dire need in dark.
When budget time comes, we can talk about it as a council. We have put that off because of our budget issues. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about it.
It's been a while since
It has, and we haven't had a new budget or any spike in income, I could tell you. But
whenever it does, we need help.
that's fine. Well, I think the
We
next
just want
time
one
we
or
can.
two, per year.
Next time we can talk about it is at budget time, but those lights are expensive to put up, and then we spend over $500,000 a year on street lights. Many communities charge their citizens for the street lights. We spend $500,000, comes out of Mr. Leroy's budget.
Let's say you charge Leroy.
Yeah, but it's it's $500,000 a year, so it's not only the cost of putting them up, it's the cost of the operation. So it is a budget constraint.
I just wanted you to
that's fine.
explain to the citizens that are calling me. We're trying to
I
get
understand.
something.
I understand.
So we're getting a little pressure on that.
Okay, that's fine.
I want to applaud the mayor. I know he's not into consolidation, but what he did to help Freeman's when their fire was on Amador, the city was out there first, and they worked with the parish, and the mayor made the call to make it happen. And I want to thank you, and because it's something that takes a big decision to go outside the city with your local fire department and do a building that is not in the city. But he did it for the right reason, and it was a great decision. And I know in the past, decisions like that was not made. And I just want to let you know it's a big deal, and the family was really appreciative of it. You out there, and they worked well together, and I just want to applaud them. And I saw some pictures of some of the firemen coming out of there, and let me just tell you, can't appreciate it till you see it. They're very valuable people in the city, and to see them go outside the city and help for the cause, not because of the property line of in the city or not, it's a big deal. I mean, it is. I don't think you appreciate what kind of job you did. But I heard nothing but good things about the city going out there, and was shocked. But it was the right decision. I want to thank you for letting our fire department go out there to do it, because if not, it wouldn't have happened.
Thank you, and I'll just take a second. the parking lot of Freeman's is in the city and the building isn't. That's some strange stuff. Okay, I don't know how that.
I know how it happened.
I don't know how that happened. Okay, I'm sure there was some politics involved somewhere. But we got the call, and basically what we ended up with was 25 firefighters out there, 13 of them on overtime, and every piece of equipment that the city owns. But you're either all in or you're not. You know, I got there as quick as I could. When you watch our firemen enter a burning building, okay, when you see those guys going in, you got to be all in. You can't send a couple of guys and say, well, money constraints, that's enough. You know, I got to back my people up. That's our people. When you watch the parish and the city fire departments work together, like I got to see firsthand, oh, I mean, it is amazing to see how well they cooperated, how well they coordinated the efforts, you know, because it was a huge fire. When you watch our guys coming in and coming back out, replenishing their air tanks, and, you know, when you think about the bond money and we're spending some money for fire equipment, and you go out there and see, you know, one example, the parish has these composite air tanks. They weigh nothing, okay? We're working on some 1950 air tanks that are metal that were bought so many years ago, it's ridiculous, and that weigh 5 times the amount of the composite one. You watch our guys schlepping those, coming out, dropping them, getting new ones, you know. They're not new, they're the same 1950 ones, but replenishing them, filling them up. When you watch our equipment at work and you wonder why, you know, we have to spend money or should spend money on more equipment for these men. But the point is, you're either all in or you're not. And so the decision came, you know, the fire responded, the chief was one. You should have seen our chief. I was very proud of our chief. Our chief was all over it. I mean, he was, you know, and so was everybody else. All of our crews, all of our firefighters just did a wonderful job. It was a tragedy, but, you know, I felt blessed to be there and witness how well we worked together and how well we pulled together. But, you know, it's the same way with our police department. I mean, you're either all in or you're not. So, yes, it was expensive. Yes, it cost money that I knew I wouldn't recoup because it is outside the city. We could always offer them to annex. I would love to offer that and put that on the table. But that's for another day. But I'll just say that it, you know, you do what you got to do, and we got to back our people up. That's the most important thing. So, thank you.
Mayor, I have one more comment.
Sure.
This weekend is the Dragon Boats downtown. Please go down there and go visit and just go over there and eat, spend a few dollars. And it's very, if you didn't see it, it's very cool. You know, people are racing down the bay up and down. And maybe next year we'll be more organized and we'll have a council.
I'd love, there was talk about a city parish one, you know, that could really be neat. And remember, the Dragon Boats returns money to the city. They actually, in the money that they raise, a portion of the money comes back into our park system, which is
the money spent,
which is awesome.
in the parks already.
Yes, yes,
So,
definitely.
And they're
go
giving back
support
to the Rodri, like a lot of
Yeah.
our
So
improvement.
we'll support it, and it looks like the weather might be good for it. And you don't have to go ride in the boat, just go support, you know, buy some food and some drinks, and have a good day. It's a family day. It's really neat. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Ledbetter.
You heard at the beginning of the meeting that the next prayer walk will be in District 4. And I'm asking the people of District 4 and anybody else who would want to join along to go out to the walk. The route has not been set yet, but it will be on April the 7th. And you can also join in the all-night prayer on the 27th and the boots on the ground on the 28th. So more information we'll probably have at the next meeting, but make plans to do those things. I personally, I'll be there to support in spirit and in prayer, but I won't physically be there because I'll be out of town for both of those. But I know that my district will show up and show out in this event. Also, on May the 24th, we'll have the joint neighborhood watch meeting, and it's going to be a symposium, 6:00 p.m. at the Slyman, and we're going to highlight our new police department. And the agenda is still in the works, so I'll have more to say as we get closer, but plan to come out for the joint neighborhood watch on the 24th, May the 24th. It's moved from the 17th because that's graduation. Last year we had it then, and a lot of people who wanted to come Well, they were going to graduation, so this year, it'll be on the 4th Thursday. So everybody have the opportunity to come out and, join in that activity. 6 o'clock at the Slyman.
Thank you. Councilman Gill?
I just have a quick announcement, really quick. On tomorrow, Westgate is holding their Journey to Careers Day or something. I think that's how you said, Journey to Careers Day. And I go every year, and it's a blessing to be able to do a mock interview with the students and teach them how to actually go through the interviewing process. So I'll be there tomorrow at Westgate tomorrow, and I'm excited about that. I get to see some of my little friends over there and sit down and talk with them and see how life is going for them. So I'm excited about that. And I think that's all I have. And I did leave out a person on this council. I wanted to thank the mayor for him picking up the trash, but I didn't thank Mr. Broussard because he picked up a majority portion of the beginning of the tight and right when I was still trying to set things up. So thank you, Mr. Broussard, you and the other gentleman that you brought.
Mr. Broussard.
Mr. Broussard, it was his name as well.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you.
I want to ditto what Mr. Dahl said earlier about the issue with Freeman's and the mayor. I really do thank you for doing that because as a former volunteer fireman years ago, there was some issues. We had some issues with fight fires that weren't in the city limits, and some had to step in and some didn't. So that was actually very awesome to see that take place, and I'm sure, like Mr. Dahl said, it's very appreciated by the Freeman family. The Festival of the Live Oaks was, even though the weather, it was a success. We had 6 teams. It was great. The bands were out. The weather was nice after it cleared up. I think we sold out by noon, so I'm actually pretty impressed with that.
Get my plate.
And no, we sold out, and I forgot your plate. I'm sorry, Ms. Gibson, but I'm glad that you came out when you did, even though you had
Kept my word.
I had
kept
the
your
pork
word,
steak.
you
It
came
was
out,
good.
the mayor
It was
came
good.
out. So it was a good day. It really was. So we're gonna start working on getting it better for next year. It's just, it's a great annual event. We're gonna keep it going. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great. Next meeting is April the 3rd, and we have some interesting properties for sale on Civic Zord. And I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Great. Thank you.